So today I want to take you through 3 ways of building AI agents, starting from beginner and going to complex, and none of these methods require you to know how to code. So if you stick around to the end of this video, you'll be able to learn exactly how to build powerful AI agents for your business or for your app. I'm also going to start off with a quick breakdown of what AI agents are before we go into 3 different examples of actually building AI agents from scratch. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design, and I believe the next wave of incredible businesses is going to be built using these AI tools. And so let's jump straight into the 3 ways that you can start building AI agents today.
Build great products. Build great products.
So before we get started building actual AI agents, I want to just talk quickly about what an AI agent is and how to think about them when it comes to building your own apps or building AI agents for your business. So what is an AI agent? Well, an AI agent is essentially a combination of these different blocks that make AI more powerful. And what an agent combines is essentially instructions which tells the AI how to behave. So this would be something like, you are performing in this role, your goal is to be able to do this, the way that you achieve that is through XYZ. These are a specific set of instructions that are going to direct your agent in how it behaves and what it is trying to accomplish. The next part of AI agents is memory. So this is the ability to be able to remember past conversations, but not only past conversations, also information from other sources. The next part of an AI agent is the tools, and this is essentially the tools that your AI has access to. So this can be done through MCP, which is Model Context Protocol, which essentially is a protocol that allows an AI to interact with any standard sort of software that has an MCP server. But you don't necessarily need to know how to hook these up in some of the ways that we're going to build AI agents. So all you need to know here really is that the tools are what the agent is able to use to accomplish the task. So if you're creating an agent that would send emails to potential customers, then you might want to connect up like an email service tool like Gmail, connect it to your Gmail inbox, that sort of thing. And then the last piece of the puzzle here is the LLM. And so the agent has access to a large language model. That would be something like ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, any of these large language models in order to process all of these other parts. So how can you use agents? You don't always need to use an AI agent. Sometimes just prompt chaining in a single kind of LLM, a single linear flow, can actually be completely sufficient for the task that you're doing. But some situations where you might want to use agents would be if you want to solve problems that require context, which would be the stored memory piece of this. So if you're going to be able to solve a problem better by having more context of the user's interactions, then that stored memory is going to mean that you're going to be able to solve the problem better, and so it might be worth building an agent to solve that problem. You might want to use an agent if you're solving problems that require reasoning, which you can think of as multiple steps. You also will need to build an AI agent if you want to solve problems that require using tools, so like posting a message to Slack or sending an email or using any other tools that have MCP available. And you probably want to build an AI agent if you want to solve problems that require very specific instructions, and this is called a system prompt. And that system prompt can be as simple as, you are behaving as this role, and it can be as complex as thousands and thousands of words of instructions that really give it a clear directive of exactly what to do. So how can you build agents? Well, there's 3 ways that I think about building AI agents. The first and the simplest is agent building tools. So these are tools that are specifically designed to help you build AI agents without needing to connect everything up manually yourself. This would be something like String or Motion. These tools often sell themselves as like AI employees, essentially, that can do specific tasks, but also allow you to create custom agents to perform those tasks as well. The next way of building AI agents is using workflow building tools. So something like NAN, which is pretty much the industry standard for AI automation and workflow automation. At this point, you can build AI agents within NAN, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in the next part of the video. And then the last option for building AI agents here is development tools. And this is more complex, but it's also still relatively straightforward and doesn't necessarily need you to know how to code. But this would be building an AI agent using something like OpenAI's SDK which is a software development kit which you can use inside of Cursor and build using Claude Code or any other AI coding agent. And these are pretty simple to set up, and I would use this option if you want to build an AI agent inside of something like an app or a piece of software that you're developing. And so what method should you use? Well, these are some questions to ask before you decide which method you're going to use to build your AI agent. Do you need your agent to work from your code base or product, in which case you want to build it directly in your code? Do you need visibility of what your agent is doing at each step, in which case you might want to build it using a workflow tool where you can actually have direct control over each step in the process? Are you building for a production app or just a prototype or MVP? If you're building for a production app, you probably want to have that running inside of your code. If you're building a prototype or an MVP, it might be okay to use a workflow automation or an agent building tool. And is your agent completing one task or providing continuous interaction? If it's providing continuous interaction like a chat kind of based interface, you might want to build that more inside of your code base. And if it's just completing one task or going through a workflow, even if that contains multiple steps, it's performing one task and then completing it, you can more likely build that with a workflow tool and create an AI agent within that workflow. The last thing I want to cover here before we get into actually building AI agents is agent architecture. So if you go, and I'll link this in the description below, there is a blog post from Anthropic which talks about how to set up different types of agent architecture for different use cases. And so this is essentially where you're chaining different agents together in different structures to kind of complete different tasks in different ways. The simplest way of thinking about that is prompt chaining. So where you basically have an LLM or an agent at each step in the chain, it's a linear flow. You get one agent to do one thing, that hands it over to the next agent to do the next thing, and then that sends an output. And there are gates at each point which allow it to kind of pass or fail through those. There are other ones here that you can build, like routing, parallelization, the orchestrator or the evaluator and optimizer. This is more complex, and so I would highly recommend reading the article around this. But if you don't want to get into this step yet, you don't need to start here. This is not kind of the starting point for AI agents. It's just something worth understanding that you can actually hook agents up in these different workflows, this different architecture to achieve different goals. And it's all dependent on what the problem you're trying to solve is. So now we've gone over the basics to do with agents, what they are, why you might need to use them, and what type of agent builder you want to use. Let's get into actually building some agents using these three methods. Quick break in the episode to talk about my community for people who are building apps with AI and actually want to make a profit. It's called the AI App Builders Academy. So if you're building an app using Bolt or Lovable or Cursor or any other AI tool and you actually want to make a profit, then this is the community for you. Inside, you'll get access to a community of other builders, weekly Q&As and demo days, and my full Product to Profit course covering everything you need to know to validate your idea, build your app, and then grow it from your first customers and beyond. You'll also get access to all of my startup frameworks from my 15 years experience of designing apps and advising startups on product and design. So if you're building an app with AI and you actually want to make a profit from it, head over to school.com/AI apps and join the community. I'll see you there. So the first way of building AI agents would be to use an AI agent building tool that works from just like a simple prompt or a simple UI where you can kind of tell it how to build the agent and it will go and build the agent for you. A platform that I have done a video on before is a product called String, where you can build AI agents using natural language. It is generally more expensive to do it this way. And another platform I want to look at here as well, which is a very popular productivity AI platform, which is called Motion. They have just released AI employees, but these tools are much more suited to internal use cases inside businesses. If you want to automate workflows that you're already doing and kind of create tools for that are going to interact with software and tools that you're using to perform a specific task. So I give you an example here just from one of these prompts, and I won't go into String into too much detail because I've done a video going a bit more in depth on this already, just to show you how you can build an AI agent on a platform like this. This example here just says build an agent that monitors a GitHub repository for new issues and uses AI to rewrite the issue title and description for clarity before creating a new linear issue. So effectively, this is just going to listen for any issues that are added to GitHub, and then it's going to take that It's going to rewrite the issue title and description, and then it's going to add an issue in linear, which is basically a way of tracking bugs and features and issues with your product. So in the past, you would have to do that manually. This agent is just going to automatically do that for us. And this is a huge use case for businesses that want to automate their existing processes. And there's going to be a lot more tools are coming, which allows you to just build agents from prompts or from simple instructions, rather than having to do that in any other like more complicated tool. So if I put this in here, you can see I was out of AI tokens, so I had to buy more, already proving that this is a little bit more expensive than other options. You can see here that this has created a plan to build this agent. It's going to set up this trigger, it's going to add an AI step, and it's going to create a linear issue and then configure the GitHub repository. So I can approve that plan and start to build the agent here. And I'll be able to see exactly in this right-hand panel the progress for it building the AI agent, and also the preview of the agent with all of the nodes connected here. And so you can see exactly the steps that the AI agent is taking to perform this task. Now, I wouldn't recommend using this method if you are building an app and you want to create AI agent functionality in that app, because it is going to be a very expensive way of enabling that. But it can be a really good way of getting started building AI agents, and also for building AI agents for internal usage inside your own company or for other companies to use internally as well. And you can see here on the right, it's connected these nodes together. So for this agent that it's building, it's going to go to GitHub. You have to connect a GitHub account here, and it's going to get the issue. It's going to rewrite the issue title using OpenAI. It's going to then rewrite the issue description using OpenAI, and then it's going to create an issue in linear for us. So we don't have to do all of that stuff manually. That's just going to automatically happen. So let's jump over to Motion, and I want to show you Motion's approach to building AI agents for this same use case of building AI agents internally for your own business or for your own things that you're kind of working on. So they kind of take, and a lot of these platforms do this, they take like the AI employee approach to agents. So calling AI agents AI employees as a way of kind of marketing that a little bit better. You can choose like any of these preset agents that you want to go with. But you can also create custom ones yourself. So I'm just going to choose one here. This is the executive assistant. Alfred can craft daily agendas, organize your email, generate action item lists, all of that stuff. And so it's got all of these kind of workflows set up behind the scenes in this kind of approach for these platforms. And a lot of these platforms are going to start integrating this technology into them as well. So if you're already using something like Motion or Notion, I guess all productivity platforms at the moment are called something Ocean, then you're probably going to get access to some sort of functionality like this at some point in the near future. And it's got listed the skills that this assistant can do, and ones that I can ask it to do manually. So these are basically like schedule triggers. So if you go back to that AI agent model that we went over at the beginning of the video, basically you have like the input or some sort of a trigger that starts the agent working. These are the workflows basically that are already set up under this AI employee, which is multiple AI agents that are doing these things. So once you've chosen your AI employees in a platform like this, you can then just click to add a skill. And this is essentially the same way of building like a workflow like this in something like String, but you're building the skill for this idea of an AI employee inside a tool like Motion or Sintra or any of these other productivity tools that allow you to do this. But I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, because I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you probably don't want to build something in String or in Motion or in any of these other tools. You probably want to build an AI agent yourself. Let's actually jump into the next ways of building AI agents here, which are much more suited to building custom AI agents to actually start using them in the apps you're building. So the second method of creating AI agents would be to use an AI workflow automation tool like NAN, and I would strongly recommend using NAN as it is really the industry standard for building AI workflows and automations. And you can see just on the page, they give like an example of creating an AI agent using NAN, where basically the this is for onboarding a new employee to a company. So a new employee would be created that would go into the AI agent, which has access to these tools to create user accounts on those tools. It has access to chat memory as well. So it will understand what information you've talked to it before about that new employee, and it uses the Claude LLM model there to actually process and do all of that information. At the end of that then just like creates adds to channels on Slack based on whether they are a manager or not. And so you can see how this is like this simple AI agent workflow can be created inside of NAN. So I'm just going to jump into NAN and create a simple agent now to show you how you can start building AI agents for your apps or for your business inside of NAN. So once you log into NAN and you create a new workflow, essentially what you'll see is this canvas here, and we're going to create a simple agent just to demonstrate creating an agent within NAN and then getting that to work. And what I want to create here is I want to create an AI agent that will help people to build an app and get it profitable using AI. And so basically like a startup advisor agent here, which is also going to update the user on the next task that they should do on their specific roadmap for their startup just by sending a simple email after the user engages with this agent every single time, just to keep them on track with what they need to do next. And so we're going to set a trigger here, and just to test this in NAN, we're going to select on chat message. And so what we can do with this is just to open the chat down here just to test how this agent works. You can use other triggers in here, so you can use a webhook as a trigger or a schedule as a trigger or any other event that might trigger this agent to run. So if you're building an app with a front end that has like a chat interface, or the user is inputting data in any other way, then that can be sent through here to that trigger. Then you want to add the next one here, which is going to be your AI agent. And this includes all of the blocks that we saw on the diagram at the beginning of the video. Basically that instruction, the LLM, the tools, and the memory piece that you can all connect here. When you add the AI agent first, you're going to get this window pop up, and to add the instructions into this AI agent, what you're going to do is come down to this options section here and then click add option and system message, and that will allow you to add an instruction to this AI agent. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to add an instruction here to tell it to be a startup advisor and to help the user create a business plan and update their business plan as they build their startup. So let's say you are a startup advisor and investor, and your goal is to help the user create a business plan and provide them with one clear action every time they chat with you. Now, I did want to set this up with my own 30-day startup roadmap, my kind of 30-day plan for going from an idea to building an app and then making that profitable. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to keep it simple. If you do want that 30-day roadmap to go from idea to profitable app, you can get it by joining my community over at school.com/AI apps. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple with this simple instruction here. And so now we've got our AI agent and our instruction. Let's go back to the canvas and hook up these other tools. So we want to add in our chat model, which is going to be, we're just going to use OpenAI for this. So this is where you add in your LLM for the agent to use, and you get to select the model that you want to use here. And if you haven't connected this, just click and create new credentials and then add in your API key and your organization idea if you want as well. And that will allow you to select from all of the different LLM models here, and it will do the same for any LLM that you're connecting here as well. One tip for using LLM models within an agent is often the best approach for this is to create a really, really detailed and concise system prompt that is very, very prescriptive, and then to use a cheaper model here for the agent to actually run, because that's going to be cheaper on the AI usage, and so that will cost you less for that agent to run every single time. And so now we've added our LLM here. Let's add in a memory. And I'm just going to add in simple memory from NAN. So basically this simple memory from NAN allows it to remember a certain number of previous interactions with this agent. What you can do here is you can add like a Postgres database. If you're using Supabase and you're storing your chat history from this agent in your Supabase database, you can connect a Postgres database here instead. So basically just go to Postgres chat memory and then set up that with your Supabase credentials. And if you're unsure how to do that, you can either go to the docs here or just click in this Ask Assistant down in the bottom right, which will help you set these things up in NAN. For now, I'm just going to remove that and just add back in the simple memory here. with 10 context length, so it will remember the previous 10 interactions. And I'm also going to set up the Gmail tool here as well, so that it can send emails after I've chatted with the agent with an update on what my next steps are and what I need to be focusing on next. And so with any of these tools, you're going to have to create new credentials for those and connect them to your agent. Once that's done, so I've got the Gmail one here, I'm going to choose the operation is going to be send, so that's going to send an email. So what you can do here is if the information is coming through from like a form field on a website for this agent, for example, you could add in the email address from the form field into this field here, so you can dynamically add anything into any field and any expression into any field as well. I'm just going to call this subject roadmap update. The email type is going to be in HTML, and then the message, we're basically going to add in some dynamic information there once we've tested this to see how it runs and what information it's going to pull back. And so we've got our AI chat model, we've got a simple memory, we've got our tool, and we've got our instruction for our AI agent. So let's send a chat message here to see if this agent can help us set up a business plan and keep us on top of our startup as we're growing. So if we go back to the instruction, it said your goal is to help the user create a business plan and provide them with one clear action every time they chat with you. So I'm just going to ask it here, got a business idea about cats and AI. And you can see here the agent is working, it's going to the memory, it's going to the chat model, and then it's replying using the LLM. It hasn't done anything in Gmail yet because we haven't instructed it to send a message. So it says, that sounds interesting. To help you build a solid business plan, could you please share a bit more detail about your idea? For example, what aspect, and then I can better assist you. So we can test the memory now basically, and you can see in this memory, if we open this memory here, you can see on the left, you've basically got the memory of all the interactions that we've had previously with the agent. So this memory is being stored and can be used in the future for this AI agent to reference. So if we say something here, like, sure, what was my idea about again? It should remember that the idea was about cats and AI. And so here you can see, you mentioned that you have a business idea involving cats and AI, but you haven't shared specific details yet. So it's gone into the memory, it's referenced that memory, and then it's come back with a response that has remembered my first message that I sent to that agent. And so that's what the memory is going to do here. So now when I go into my send message in Gmail node here, I'm going to change the message to let the model define this parameter. I'm going to basically rename this Gmail module here just to Gmail, and this is so that the AI agent better knows what it is. So you want to create a name here that the AI agent is going to be able to reference, and so I can reference that specific tool in the system messages here by saying provide them with one clear next step every time they chat with you, and then send that next step via email using the Gmail tool. That should use that tool to send the user the next step for their business plan every time they interact with this chat. So this chat is now asking me for more details about my cat AI business plan. So I'm just going to give it a bit more details here. So let's say that this helps cats upskill with AI. And you can see there it's been running and it's hit each of these nodes to understand what the previous conversation was. It's then given me, your next step is to clearly articulate the specific problem for your idea addresses and how AI helps cats in this context. For example, are you aiming to improve cat training, health monitoring, behavior enrichment, or any other area using AI? Once you have a clear problem statement and the role of AI, we can proceed with developing your business plan. And it sent me an email here. If I open this node, it sent this email that says subject, next step for your cats and AI business idea. Your next step is to clarify, articulate the specific problem. And so it's basically just given me that next step, and it sent that to my email. And you can see there, but by giving that tool that specific name and adding that into the instructions for the agent, it's been able to use that tool to send the update based on the instructions that it has to send an update every time I interact with that chat. And so that's where like this combination of instruction, LLM, simple memory, and then the tools becomes really, really powerful, because you can kind of create any interaction with an AI agent that you want here, assuming that you have the memory and you have the tools and the instruction available to do so. I'm also just going to check my email here, and you can see I've got my roadmap update that's been sent via Gmail. Subject: next step for your cats and AI business idea, and this email was sent automatically by NAN. You can turn off this email was sent automatically by NAN in the node in NAN here. You just have to add this option for append NAN attribution and then turn that off, and that will remove that from that step. And there you go, you have a simple AI agent that's set up in a NAN that has stored memory, that uses a large language model that you've chosen, that can access and use tools, and that has instructions to perform a certain task. And so you can see how you can kind of create any sort of AI agent in here based on what you need in your app or in your business. And the final way I want to show you for creating AI agents is really for if you're building AI agents inside of your own app projects. And you can do this using Cursor and Claude Code. And this is a little bit more complex, but in a way it's kind of easier because you're just building it by chatting with Claude Code and it's creating all of the files for you. And I would recommend starting with this if you're building an agent in your Codebase by starting with the OpenAI Agents SDK and using this to reference in Claude Code. And all you have to do here is something as simple to get a basic agent up and running is as simple as copying the URL for the OpenAI Agents SDK, going over to Cursor, creating a new project, and then running Claude Code in that project. And so we've got Claude Code up and running now, and just basically asking it to create a simple agent here. So all you have to do when you're in Claude Code here, and you can do this if you're integrating it with an existing code base or starting from scratch, is to just jump over to plan mode and then ask it to create a plan for building an agent and creating an interface so that you can test that agent in your code using the link from the OpenAI SDK, and it will help you build that for you. So let's put in a prompt here that's going to do just that. So I'm going to say, let's build a web app that has a simple chat interface with an AI agent built using the OpenAI Agents SDK here, and then paste in the link to the OpenAI Agents SDK website. And then I'm going to say, let's focus on getting a simple chat UI up and running so I can test the agent chat interaction. The purpose of this agent is to help me build a startup. And so you don't have to, if you're building an agent this way, you don't necessarily have to connect all of the tools and the memory and everything right off the bat. You can add that as you go. And this basic setup here is going to create the Python files and all of the things that you need in your project for your agent to exist and for you to interact with it. So let's send that off to Claude Code, and it's going to come back with a plan to create that agent for us. So it's asking me if I want to allow it to access that website, which I do. So it's going to go and read that website, understand how this SDK works, and then it's going to put together a plan to build this AI agent for me. And so we can see here, we've got a detailed plan here. So we've got tech stack. We're going to use Python with fast API for the backend, HTML and JavaScript for the chat interface, OpenAI Agents SDK for the conversational AI, and then WebSocket for real-time chat communication. And so this is going to set us up with a basic project where we can chat with this AI agent and test its functionality as we kind of add in tools and all of these other things here. And so let's approve that project in Claude. So we've got an updated to-do list here. It's going to set up the Python virtual environment, install dependencies, create fast API backend, and then build a starter advisor agent using OpenAI SDK, create the HTML chat interface and implement CSS styling, and then build the WebSocket JavaScript and test end-to-end chat functionality. So let's just enable these all as we go through this. And you can see as it's building here, we've got the agent Python files here. So you can see what you'll be able to see in these Python files as you're building is the instructions for the agent. So this has created a set of instructions here for us, but we might want to add in our own custom instructions. And as you add more tools and memory and other features to this agent, you'll be able to see these files being updated by Claude Code. And you can just come in here and actually change these instructions and anything you kind of want to as you're kind of building your agent with Claude Code. And so now we've got a local environment up and running. We've got to, it's asking us to put our OpenAI API key into the environment file. So let's do that. So let's put our API key in this file and then save that. So we've got our API key there, and now we should be able to go to this local environment, but it's not working for some reason. So let's just sort that out with Claude Code. So Claude Code, from my experience, seems to do this quite often. It will run the command to run a local environment, and then it doesn't actually run it, or it doesn't work. So the way that I've found to get around this is just to run another terminal here, and just run the command in the terminal separately to Claude Code. So I've just run that command to launch that app with the simple AI agent chat, and we've got this interface here. So we can basically now test our AI agent in this environment that we've set up using the OpenAI agents SDK, and just say, I'd like to start a business for dogs and AI. Okay, so we've got an issue here, so we can just paste that issue back into Claude Code and see if we can fix that. So let's get Claude Code to fix this issue quickly, and then we can test our AI agent. So I did go back and forth with Claude Code a couple of times just to fix this issue, this error that was happening, and it's managed to fix that now. And so you can see, basically in a few minutes, you can get very quickly an AI agent up and running in your code base that you can then test in a local environment like this. And if I put in here, I've got a business idea about dogs and AI, and send that off, you can see the agent is responding. That's using my OpenAI API key to come back with that response. So it's given me an idea for concept, target market, unique value proposition, current stage, all of that sort of stuff. So you can start building your AI agent in your code base using Claude Code. It's pretty straightforward. And then as you want to add tools and add memory to this agent that you're building, you can either put a plan together in Claude Code to help you do that, or you can just ask the cursor agent to help you to set those things up by adding the right files in the context here to ask it, how could I add this tool to this agent? And it will help you set that up. But a lot of the time you'll just be able to prompt Claude Code to say, I want to add this tool to my agent, can you help me set this up using the OpenAI SDK, and it will configure all of that stuff for you. So that is the third and most complex way of setting up AI agents, but it's great if you're building a very, very custom app and you're using Cursor and Claude Code to actually build an agent directly inside your code base. So hopefully, if you're new to AI agents, or you're just getting started building AI agents for your own projects, you now have a better understanding of what an AI agent is, how it works, and how you can start building them into your own projects in those 3 different ways, depending on what you're looking to build in your AI agent and how you need it to work. I actually think sometimes that just building it directly into your code base, especially if you're using Claude Code, is actually a relatively simple way to get started with AI agent building, even though it looks the most complex. And definitely, if you are looking to build apps and internal tools for businesses, then NAN is a really, really great starting point for that as well. And you can also prototype AI agent workflows that work on your apps using something like Lovable and Bolt, and sending information via a webhook to an NAN workflow that has an AI agent in it for an MVP or initial prototype of the app that you're building. Now, I'm learning this too as I go as well. So if there's anything that I missed here, or there's any information that you think might be useful, or you want to learn more about AI agents, then just let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And you can also get all of my startup and app building frameworks over at buildgreatproducts.com if you sign up to my newsletter as well. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Build great products. Build great products.